So we're going, and then we stop moving, and then boop, 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 you hear that beep again, it's instantly charging again.
I built a solar-powered John boat so I can fish virtually forever, complete with a solar panel system, electric generator, GPS spot lock trolling motor, and an electric outboard wired directly into the solar-powered system. I've been wanting to do a boat build fully powered by the sun for a while now, but the equipment can get kind of expensive. Jackery reached out wanting to help. They sent me their 1000 V2 electric generator as well as their 200-watt Solar Saga solar panel. But the rest is on me. This setup did end up way cooler, more functional, and more portable than I had originally planned. But it took some trial and error to get here. Let's rewind, go back in the garage, and start this whole build from scratch.
First things first, we need to find a boat. Now I would use the Sun Dolphin American 12, but it's kind of a slower, heavier hull, so I'm thinking inflatable. Now we have paddle boards, we have kayaks. They're too small for the Jackery Solar Saga because this thing actually comes out quite a bit. Oopsie. So we need something with a little bit of deck space. So the smaller paddleboard and solo skiffs, those aren't gonna work. The fish skiff 16 is just too big. It's too cumbersome. It's just, I don't feel like putting that together. The FB385 is a tank, and we are going to be trying to get away with using as little juice as possible. So that leaves us the Sea Eagle paddle ski, baby. A boat that I've been so excited to use, but it's buried back here. There's a couple reasons for picking this boat. So I'm gonna go over there and inflate it. We'll talk about it. Really, it's actually not too heavy. It's just kind of an awkward bag. The generator will charge from the wall in just an hour, but using solar panels, it'll take 3.8 hours. So that is why I'm wanting to use an efficient hull, use as small of a motor as we possibly can. Now this is actually going to be perfect because it's super lightweight and portable, only 23 pounds, which is the same weight as a 100 amp hour trolling motor battery. Then of course we have the solar panel setup, which is actually going to be what's charging everything. It is a Solar Saga 200 with a 200 watt output, which is actually really good because these three AC ports has 1500 watts, and then it has a 1070 watt hour capacity with its LiFePo battery. Now I don't know much about electricity, but I do know those numbers are going to work for us to power a small boat. All right, well that's inflating. We need to find a motor, specifically a motor with that doesn't take too much to charge. And I'd like to take advantage of our DC 12 volt 10 amp port because something tells me the trolling motor is going to go into our AC port, and I'd like to leave these as readily available as possible because I don't have many things that can go in here besides chargers. We need to figure out outboards. So gas is going to be out of the question because there's no way that I can use the sun to power a gas motor that runs on gasoline. So the Jackery isn't going to be much help there. So I'm thinking that we go electric outboards. And we do have an electric outboard here, which would be perfect for that Sea Eagle, except the only problem is it runs on 36 volt power, which is 3 times as power hungry as the standard 12 volt that a trolling motor runs on. And we have a 1070 watt hour capacity and only 200 incoming watts. So I don't think that electric outboard will do it, but I do have a 24 volt electric outboard, step up from a trolling motor, but still not quite as power hungry and charges significantly quicker. And that would be, yeah, this one right here. The Propulsion E-Lite, and it's lightweight. Literally only weighs 17 pounds. Okay, you know what? That's good. And doesn't even have an option for an external battery. So it would make sense that we gave it an external battery powered from the sun. This is absolutely perfect. This is pretty cool. We have about 150 watts coming in from the solar panel and only 105 watts going out from the solar charger onto the electric outboard, which means we are charging our outboard with the solar panel while also charging the battery at about 40 watts. So that battery percentage is going to go up, and so is that. Wow. Okay, after spending all that time putting the boat together, something crossed my mind. Never actually taken this boat out, and I do remember Sea Eagles have higher transoms, and that E-Propulsion E-Lite is a short shaft, a very short shaft. Point is, I don't know if it'll be big enough. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, moment of truth. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, that's not gonna do it. See, the reason that this was gonna be such a good hole is because only the pontoons touch the water. The actual seat, the area where you live, is off the water. So it has extremely low drag and it's really, really fast with small motors. Very, very energy efficient. Perfect for a solar powered boat. But that motor's not gonna work with it. And that motor's really the only option we have. Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised. Man, this would've looked good though. Also, now that I'm looking at it, the solar panels, even when they're folded in half, they just wouldn't have a ton of room to lay. Crap. And you know what boat does have a transom? The only boat I have that I think will even work with this e-propulsion E-Light. That guy. I cannot stay away from this boat. Okay, new plan. We're gonna rig this boat out.
And while I wheel the boat out of the garage, I wanted to tell you a couple more unique things about the Jackery in case you're looking to get one for yourself. Thanks to its LFP lithium iron phosphate battery, it can be used daily for 10 years and still keep 70% capacity. The Jackery 1000 V2 comes with a 5-year warranty, so you never have to stress about after-sales issues and can enjoy reliable power for years. And I specifically recommend getting Jackery's exclusive dual product bundle because it'll save you a lot more money than buying them separately. And you can enjoy the biggest discount of the Prime Big Deal days, up to 65% off. Perfect for essential home backup. It can power multiple rooms at once so your family stays worry-free no matter where you are. Or you can build a boat that runs on the sun. All right, back to the video.
There's nothing much to do but to put it together and see how it all fits, then take it to the lake and give it a real world test. I guess we'll start with the actual boat and then we'll maneuver the Jackery stuff in there, hook it all up and see how it works. I guess since we have no battery back here, we'll just put the Jackery right there. It weighs the same as 100 amp hour, so really we're not losing or gaining too much weight. Now this is the questionable part. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to open it up all the way, slip right under the trolling motor. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, it is gonna capture every angle of the sun. It's not terrible, but no, because I need room to walk around. Okay, I think since the Jackery 1000 V2 is charged up already because I used solar to charge it, that we can afford to cut this in half and leave it just under the trolling motor. It's better. It does have legs here. We might be able to use that to prop it up a little bit better. We'll see. Now, that might just have to work. And then it plugs in right here. I'm looking at the generator right now and we are charging. So it is working. Although we don't have very good direct sunlight. That's all right. Okay, so we have the ePropulsion solar charger. It comes with an accessory port. So this is a 12 volt, 10 amp accessory port, and that's exactly what this charger is. So it couldn't be any better. Now let's see if we can plug it in here to move the tiller handle. That's plugged in. We need to hit the DC/USB button, and we should hear a beep. I didn't hear a beep. Oh, there it goes. Plug that in. And we're charging. That is pretty cool. Now, the solar panel is not doing a ton right now. In fact, we have 1 watt coming in and 216 watts going out. But hopefully when we get on the lake and we're moving around a little bit, it'll get some better angles. So we have the Autoboat Smart Head up here connected to my 12 volt battery that is going to store the battery and provide the power for the trolling motor. But we also have that battery currently charging through this waterproof 10 amp charger connected to the AC port right there. And then as you can see, the solar panel is connected to the system with that orange cable. Then back here, we've got the 10 amp solar charger plugged into the accessory port right here, currently plugged in and charging pretty quickly this outboard right there. And as long as we can get some decent sun on this solar panel, we will, in theory, have unlimited power and have a solar powered John boat. Solar panels don't themselves store power. They just capture it and then it needs to go somewhere else. So every solar panel setup has to have some sort of generator with it. Even with some cloud cover, that's why you have to have a place to store your power. All right, time to take it all apart, put it in the truck, and take it for a spin. Well, how cool is that? A solar powered John boat. And in theory, with the energy we already have stored and the energy we have charging, we could do this forever. That's pretty cool. Now the e-propulsion E-Lite is gonna give us a top speed of about 4.5 miles an hour, and it only has a maximum runtime wide open of 40 minutes. So it is a really lightweight, but really small capacity motor. That is why if you are going to use the e-propulsion, it is absolutely mandatory that you have a way to charge it. 40 minutes wide open runtime, that is absolutely nothing. So the theory behind this build is we use it to get to our spot. Once we get to our spot, we drop our trolling motor in, and that trolling motor will last hours with 50 amp hour lithium power. But while we are using the trolling motor to fish, the solar panel is charging the generator while the generator is also charging our e-propulsion, which charges really fast. So in theory, by the time we are done with fishing, our motor should be back up to 100% yet again. And as you can see, how the solar powered John boat continues and continues and continues. Starting at the sun, hitting the solar panel, hitting the generator hits the motor while we're on the trolling motor and fishing. And you know, once every couple weeks, whenever we actually need to charge that 50 amp hour, we can just plug the AC port directly into the Jackery. How sick? Solar powered John boat, baby. You know what I just realized though? We might have unlimited power and we can run this boat, I don't know, years on end, and I didn't even pack a lunch. So ironically, this is gonna be a pretty short trip. Gosh. All right, I just saw some fish action, so this is gonna be a perfect time to actually take advantage of charging the battery. We were driving for maybe 5 minutes or so, and we used 11%. This motor is already at 89%. That is absurd. We are going to fish this one spot. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, and we'll see what it's up to. So everything's already hooked up, so it is a matter of just plugging it into the motor itself. So all we need to do is grab our solar charger. You can hear the Jackery powering up right now, and it's charging. The motor is on and charging. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I might have just found something crazy out about this motor. Okay, I didn't think that this would be a thing. So you can see it's charging right now through the solar charger into the Jackery. It's charging, right? You're not supposed to be able to use it in theory while it's charging, but it looks like I in fact can use the trolling motor. It stops charging. So we're going, and then we stop moving, and then boop, 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 you hear that beep again. It's instantly charging again. No way! This is so cool. Okay, so you don't even have to plug it and unplug it. It does it automatically. Oh, you gotta love electric outboards. So you just leave it plugged into the Jackery, and the second you shut it off, it's gonna charge. Wow, the Jackery's charging. All right, anyway, we gotta go back to that spot and fish. I'm telling you, this motor, without this setup, is almost useless. Unless you just have really short trips. All right, here we go. 87, we used 2% just right there, okay? And it's back charging. So I'm gonna fish for, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Step past the trolling motor, or past the solar panel, which is a little challenging. Okay, that's the trickiest part right there. The only downside is this is a solo setup. You're not gonna have another person with you. But the solar panel, now that I'm thinking about it, because it's so hot, we're still in summer right now, the solar panel is also doubling as a sunshade for my phone, my electronics, my batteries, my cameras.
So actually, it is not only charging the entire boat, which we just went up a percentage. So we're 88, went from 87 to 88 already, second cast. And it's also keeping certain things cool that need to stay cool. We're already at 89%. So yeah, we go through power fast, but we gain it almost just as fast. And there's actually a Prime Day deal going on. And you get up to 65% off through Prime Day deals. And I'm telling you, man, I would strongly consider it. If you have dinghies, if you're on a sailboat, I mean, a sailboat setup could be very similar to this, back at 89, 2% gained. I mean, there's so many uses for this. If you don't want to have, oh, I just got tangled so bad. If you don't want to have unlimited fishing power, whoa. If you don't need unlimited boating power, this could work just as good for homestead setups, for, you know, truck camping, RVs, for remote I mean, there's just so many different creative solutions to this. Looks like we have gained 2%, almost 3% since getting here. That is insane. Oh, there we go, 3%, back at 90. We went from 87 to 90 in about 10 casts. That's so cool.
Overall, this build was something I had been wanting to do, just didn't have the budget. So once again, huge thanks to Jackery for blessing us with the equipment needed to make this video come true. And this solar powered John boat build is more for fun than something I'd regularly use, but for boat camping, sailboat dinghies, remote adventures, etc. This could seriously be a useful setup. And better yet, you can check out everything in this build with the links below so you can recreate today's setup for yourselves, with the most important items, of course, being the Jackery 1000 V2 and the Solar Saga, linked at the top of this video's description. As always, all the glory goes to our Father in heaven, tight lines, and God bless.